Hey guys, Sean here with OneStopSportsInvestors.com, and today I'm going to be talking about sports betting, the keys to success. Before I get going though, I just want to let you guys know that I am giving away a free report, Sports Investing Secrets, how to turn $1,000 into over $1 million in less than 5 years betting on sports. You can get a free copy of that by visiting my website, OneStopSportsInvestors.com. I'm sure you'll get once you're done watching the video, go grab a copy of that and will really open your eyes on how to look at sports betting as an investment as opposed to gambling that we hear about all the time. So what we're talking about today, though, like I said, sports betting, the keys to success, and let's get going. Basically, so why do most people fail? And the numbers are actually astronomical. I think it's something like 98% of all sports bettors are actually failing out there, which I guess is good for the bookies, but it's not good for you if you're looking to legitimately make income from betting on sports. Now, they fall into basically four different reasons why most people will fail. And if you can avoid these, then you can be successful. Number one is greed. People are too greedy. They want to make too much money way too quickly. Number two is they don't manage their bankroll properly, so they're betting way above what they should be based on the amount of money that they have, and that they're willing to gamble. And finally, that they're undisciplined. They don't stick with anything through. They don't do any of their research and stuff like that. And these are all reasons why people will fail. Another reason is that there's too much hype out there. So don't believe the hype that you hear about. There's a lot of stuff either on the TV or in the newspaper of guaranteed winners this weekend, or how I win 90% of my games, and or how my 100-star lock of the month is going off this week, or whatever. We've all seen this stuff. It's all crap out there. There's no one can win 80% or 90% of its games over and in the long term, over and over. Yes, we all can have winning streaks, but we can also have losing streaks, and they're not talking to you about the losing streaks when they're doing that. So if they just go 8-1, then they're like, "Oh, I went 8-1 my last 9 games." Well, they're not telling you about the losses. So it's impossible to keep up a 90, an 80, or 90% win rate on each of your games. That's for sure. So when you hear this stuff, you need to be careful. But that being said, is it possible to make money with sports betting? Yes, it is. It definitely is. But you need to know the realities, and that's what I sort of want to talk to you guys about today. So one number as a sports bettor that you really need to keep in mind is the number 52.4%. So for some of you that are new to sports betting, or some that have been around for a while, you probably know what this is. But that is your break-even point of what you need to achieve. You need to achieve this or higher to basically show any profit from your sports betting. And this is based off sports that have a spread, such as football or NBA, where we're laying 11 to 10 odds, meaning that you have to bet like 110 to win 100, and the bookmaker keeps 10% off all the losses there. So that's why this number is not 50-50. It incorporates that. So that being said, you don't need to win 80% or 90% of your games to be profitable. What you need to do is just achieve 52.5% or higher, and you will actually be in profit. And I'm going to show you sort of how sort of small gains can really add up to big amounts in the long run. So let me show you an example here. We're going to take a bankroll amount of, let's say you're starting with $1,000. That's what you want to start with. Now, here's where a lot of people get in trouble, and I told you they mismanage their bankroll, is because they're betting too much of their bankroll. So what will happen is a guy starts out with, $1,000, and he wants to bet 100 on one game, 150 on another one, then he wants to put out 300 on the one that he thinks is a guarantee to win that weekend. Well, that can go very, very quickly. Yes, you can make a lot of money, but you have one losing day of 0-3, and you've basically depleted your entire bankroll in one shot. If you don't have a bankroll, then you can't continue. So it's very important to protect it, because there will be losing streaks and there will be winning streaks, but overall, you want to be able to protect it and not risk that much. So what I personally use and what I personally recommend is, whenever you're betting the same amount per game, so you're flat betting, that you don't use any more than 5% of your bankroll. So in this case, if you had $1,000 starting, then you should be betting $50. And I know that doesn't sound as exciting as $300 or $400 on a game, but you'll see the potential if you sort of follow through with this example. So You should be betting no more than 5%. I'm going to use a win rate, a very conservative win rate of 57% only. Now, I'm not talking about 60% or 65 or 75, 80%, 90%, nothing like that. I'm going to show you with a conservative win rate of 57%, meaning that you're going to lose 43% of your games. That's a lot of losses that go in there, but the potential to still make money is incredible. And the other criteria I'm going to use is that you're going to be making no more than 2 bets per day with this particular example. So you're going to take your best games, you're going to bet 2 games, and I just want to show you sort of what that looks like as we go on. So again, we talked about here starting bankroll 1,000. Your bet amount's going to be 5%, so it's $50. Win rate 57. So what's that translate into? 2 games per day is 14 games. So what's it going to look like after a week? Well, you're going to have a record of 8-6. Not that impressive. I'm not showing you 9-1 or 8-2. This is, we're going 8-6. So a total wins of +2 wins. Now we need to factor in the fact that you have to pay that extra 10% on your losses. So take off another 0.6 here that the bookmaker is going to take. You actually have net wins of 1.4. Some people like to call it units. So in this example, you would actually have a 1.4 unit, and your unit is basically your bet amount. So in this case, you take your 1.4, multiply it by your bet amount of $50, and you actually show a profit of $70 for the week. Nothing to get too excited about, nothing you're going to be quitting your job over, but what's more importantly that I want to show you is this is what's important here, that the total increase on your bankroll, we made a 7% increase on your bankroll, which is nothing to spit at there. That's still 7%, and this is only after a week in this particular example. So your ending bankroll at the end here would be 1,070. And your increase would be 7%. So I just want to show you what that means. 7% weekly would actually translate, you multiply that by 4, that would translate to 28% monthly and over 300% yearly. Now it's starting to get exciting. And like I said, I'm not showing you an extreme example here. These are the realities of it. And if you can stick to that with small gains repeated over and over and over and over, you can really make that thing here. So now these results alone are impressive enough. But now I really want to show you the power of this when you actually compound some of your profits and really make this thing go. To do that, I'm going to visit a site here. This is just a regular compound interest calculator. You can go to Google, type in compound interest calculator, and a bunch pop up. The one I personally use just for this example is moneychimp.com, but you can use any of them. Here's your starting bankroll. We said $1,000. What we said was years to grow. What I'm going to show, well, actually the interest rate that we showed there was 7%. So I'm going to use that one here, and let's say we were able to compound this every week. So I'm going to show this over 1 year, 52 weeks of to grow at 7%. Let's see what happens here. Well, if you could do that, maintain that, you've basically just turned $1,000 into over $33,000 in less than a year. Now, I don't know about you, I'm not getting those type of returns from the bank or the stock market, so that's pretty incredible. So let's just go back with our example there and say let's say you only wanted to compound it after each month. So basically, in our example, we used 28% per month that we were getting. So basically, at the end of the first month, you're at 28%. Your bankroll would be at 1,280, but now your bet amounts would be 5% of that new amount and not off the 1,000. So your bet amounts increased by 28% as well. So do this over 12. We're going to show this over 12 years. 12 months. So show over 1 year, 28%. Let's see what happens there. Well, you've just basically turned $1,000 into over $19,000 in less than a year, without adding any more money to your bankroll, with just using the profits, reinvesting it, and letting it grow. What does that look like if we do it over, let's say, 2 years, 24 months there? Well, you took $1,000, you're up to $374,000. What does that look like over 3 years, just doing the same thing, not adding any more money? Well, you're talking about $7 million. I mean, it gets crazy. What if instead of 28%, you were only to obtain 10% monthly? Well, you're still able to turn $1,000 into over $30,000 in over 3 years, just under, in a 3-year period. I mean, that's incredible. These are things you're not getting from the stock market, that's for sure. So that's why, if you treat it like this and sort of invest it, the possibilities are endless, really. So, guys, hope that gets you excited. If you haven't already, grab yourself a copy of my free report, onestopsportsinvestors.com. It really talks about how to treat sports betting like investing, and I'm sure you really enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.